Welcome to another edition of Week in One. I'm Heidi Jacos. Former President Jacob Zuma will appear at the Zondo Commission for 5 days. The inquiry is set down for the 15th to the 19th of July. But Zuma's convinced the Commission lacks impartiality. Meanwhile, Zuma's attorney is accusing the Commission of trying to turn the public against the former president. Aaron Bates reports.
In May, on the campaign trail, former President Jacob Zuma was coy.
Will you be going to the Zondo Commission, Mr. Former President?
That one I don't comment because, as you know, is an ongoing matter, and I don't think I need to comment on that commission.
Now he's undertaken to attend the state capture inquiry from 15 to 19 July.
So help me God.
Zuma's granted the wishes of the commission or, quote, whoever instructs it. He communicated his decision via a lawyer's letter on Monday.
What is this thing called state capture? State capture.
It's scathing of the commission and its chair. Zuma's lawyer, Lungisani Daniel Mancha, claims the commission is playing politics. Mancha records the following distinct impression: that you seek your own truth and to deliver our client to the commission for public display and in order to ambush and humiliate him rather than to fulfill the mandate of the commission. In a curt statement on Tuesday, the Commission noted Zuma's undertaking. It did not address any claims he or his lawyer made of bias or political meddling. Aaron Bates, Johannesburg.
60% of South Africans who are asked for a bribe pay it. This is one of the revelations that came out of the Daily Maverick's Business Against Corruption event. The larger focus, however, was on the private sector's corruption. ENCA's Aviwe Mtila has more.
Delegates at the event are from across civil society, and the discussion is business against corruption.
Financial interconnectivity that has happened over the last 20 or 30 years means that corruption moves much faster. Money stolen as a result of corruption moves in seconds from one domain into another. And so if my colleague Busi talks about 100 billion, we probably think it's 200 to 250 billion.
That's the money lost yearly to state capture over the last 10 years. Incoming CEO of Business Leadership South Africa, Busisiwe Mavuso, is calling for action to be taken against those allegedly involved in corruption, including BLSA member companies KPMG and Bain & Co.
We have to have very stringent, and rigid and tight and strong, measures against these people. And I think the strongest sanction that they can be given is for them to be in orange overalls.
What has surfaced again is the billions Steinhoff lost in December 2017, amid allegations of fraud that saw the company lose more than 90% of its share price. The CEO of SA Institute of Chartered Accountants say accountability takes a long time.
You've got to investigate, you've got to have facts, you've got to be able to link that whatever allegations that are there against a particular individual do match up to what they actually did, and of course give them a fair hearing as a result of that.
Another issue raised was corporates not paying enough tax and moving cash offshore. Aviwe Mtila, Johannesburg.
SARS Commissioner Edward Kisweta says he's working with NPA head Shamila Batoy. They're probing allegations coming from various commissions of inquiry. He says they'll soon finalize a memorandum of understanding to ensure prosecution. Kisweta was speaking at the Business Against Corruption event hosted by the Daily Maverick.
We'll take all of the activities going on in the commissions, the Nugent Commission, which obviously delivered a report, the Zondo Commission, which is continually raising issues, and the other commissions that's dealing with the PIC and other matters. And we have immediately an ability to respond to that. Now remember, SARS responds not because necessarily a criminal intent, but because we believe there's a tax matter to pursue, and often behind that would be a criminal intent. The second thing that we are doing is we're working very hard with Advocate Batoy. We will finalize in the next few days a memorandum of understanding between the NPA and SARS so that we can increase our collaborative effort and ensure that those who must be brought to book, whether it is for a tax offense or for a crime, will be brought to book. We work alongside with other institutions like the SIU and other investigative bodies to ensure that we leave no stone unturned.
The presidency says Nomgcobo Jiba and Lawrence Mkhwebi remain fired from the NPA. This despite the Constitutional Court throwing them a lifeline by dismissing an application to remove them from the role of advocates. President Cyril Ramaphosa fired the pair in April on the recommendation of the Mokgoro Commission of Inquiry. ENCA's Moloko Molota reports.
In 2016, the High Court found Nomgcobo Jiba and Lawrence Mkhwebi guilty of misconduct, concluding they weren't fit to continue practicing as advocates. The pair were criticized for their handling of cases involving former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli, ex-head of the KZN Hawks Johan Boysen, and former President Jacob Zuma. The Supreme Court of Appeal later overturned the High Court judgment. Then, the General Counsel of the Bar of South Africa approached the ConCourt to set the appeal court's judgment aside. But the Apex Court unanimously dismissed the bar's application.
This court holds that the GCB has not established that this matter falls within its jurisdiction. This court concludes that the GCB's cause of action was based on Section 7 of the Admissions Act and nothing else. Consequently, this court holds that the interpretation and application of the Admission Act does not, in this matter, raise a constitutional issue.
The ConCourt has also cited the Supreme Court of Appeal's judgment, which found there was no misconduct on the part of Nomgcobo Jiba, and the issue of dishonesty did not arise. On Mkhwebi, even though the Supreme Court of Appeal found misconduct, it held he was not dishonest. Jiba's lawyer says they await Parliament's next move.
Realistically, we can accept that she's going to be fired. When that happens, the 12-6 process at that point then becomes finalized. We hold instructions to then take the Mokgoro report on review. It is something that we couldn't have done before.
The advocates have won this round, but it seems this is the beginning of another legal fight over their expulsion. Moloko Molota, Johannesburg.
Still to come on Week in One, former Busasa executive Angelo Gritti is ordered to pay a hefty fine for using the K word. That and other stories in a short while.